Alright, what is up guys? Today we are diving into the r/EntitledParents subreddit. And the story we're looking at is called, My Parents Lost Their Minds When My Older Brother Refused to Move Back Home After College. Sounds like a wild ride, so let's jump right into it. I've been away for 2 years, and I kinda expected I'd be back to post one last time in 2024 because my brother went for a 4-year bachelor's degree, much like I currently am. For those who remember my previous posts, I'm the guy whose parents basically got their butts verbally handed to them by the family for bad favoritism towards my older brother. Crap really hit the fan on my 18th birthday because my parents barely put any effort into it and went all out on my brother's 18th in 2020 during the pandemic. They even managed to get a DJ for the party. And then they presented him with a car. Well, on my 18th, I got no car or even anything close to a similar party. Even though my academic standing was better than my brother's, I basically worked too hard for my parents' approval, and never got it. When I asked them why my brother got a car and not me, they claimed my brother worked harder for it, which was later confirmed to be not true when I got a bigger scholarship. My grandma happened to be eavesdropping and laid into my parents. Then she got the rest of the family involved. And for the record, they were planning on getting involved anyway. My grandma just stepped things up right then. But after several family members laid into them, my parents, just to try and save face, bought me a car, but treated me like a brat who was getting a new toy when they gave me the keys. It was a late 90s Subaru that I thought was great, but turned out to have a blown head gasket that had barely been holding together with sealer. My parents treated me like I was a brat for wanting equal treatment. And then when the car went bad, their reaction was to apathetically shrug and call it karma, which caused my grandparents to start it all over again with them and caused a family intervention. I got many people messaging me and asking if having a car was really necessary and that I basically forced my parents into it. I forced nothing. And it would have happened anyway if I didn't ask my parents why. And I really did need the car. I had no way of having a job without one. My parents lived 10 miles from the nearest bus stop. I literally had no way of making money before college without a car. And no, I couldn't get rides. No one was available for that on a daily basis. So many people I talked to here tried to dance around my reasoning to inset their own logic, many of which I felt like were projecting their own problems onto me. And then there was the straight-up trolls and jerks. I don't even want to repeat, let alone remember what they all said to me. But a lot of them kept it up after I got the NTA verdict like they had an axe to grind. And it really didn't help my mental state at the time. As you can imagine, my family laid into my parents all over again in that family intervention. And by the time they were done, they looked like scolded kids sitting there looking at their feet. The Subaru was sold as junk, and my grandparents essentially forced my parents to buy me a better car, a Honda Civic. And my uncle went over the car with a fine-toothed comb before they bought it. And that time my parents didn't even treat me like a brat. And yes, I still have the Honda. And yes, it still runs just fine. I've kept up with oil changes and the like. No accidents either. I've been a careful driver. The final thing that broke my parents before I left was finding out that I got a better scholarship than my brother. Any excuses they previously had to favor my brother so completely were thrown out the window, and were forced to give me words of encouragement I knew they didn't mean. And in wondering why they disliked me so much, I later found out from my grandma why I was treated differently was because my parents had wanted their second child to be a girl. My grandma ended up admitting even more to me later after I left for college. Before I was born, my parents were so convinced that I'd be a girl that they bought a bunch of girl stuff without even checking my gender through ultrasound. Well, I found out from my grandma about a year ago that my mother had tried to raise me like a girl for like the first 6 months of my life. She was putting me in girls' clothes and calling me by a different name. My father enabled it all. I know it's true because my grandma showed me old family photos of me with my brother when I was an infant, and I was wearing pink in all of them. There was even a visible name tag on some of the name my parents wanted for a girl. But once word got out, my parents stopped dressing me as a girl. My grandparents told my mother that trying to raise me as something I wasn't even giving me a choice on whether or not I wanted to be that. And though my family is rather old school, but my grandparents are surprisingly open-minded people. And they put the hammer down on my parents. So the girl treatment stopped. But instead of new clothes, they gave me my brother's hand-me-downs for years. Till my grandparents noticed that too and did something about it. Finding out all of this, my grandparents kept my childhood from being far worse than it was. And they never told me until this past couple of years. I am incredibly thankful for them. My mother apparently struggled to call me by my real name for 2 years or so. And because my parents didn't get a girl, they refused to connect with me like they did my brother, the boy they'd actually wanted. And when my grandparents heard I wasn't getting anything new like my brother was, they threatened them to petition for guardianship of me. And they had evidence of the various things I described too. My parents couldn't stand for anything that could become a public scandal. So they stopped with the hand-me-downs and pretended to love me for a while. But as I got older, it degenerated into indifference. And then maybe into hate. I'm not sure. Hate means to still care in some way. But indifference is the actual opposite of love. I just know my parents couldn't accept that their favorite son wasn't the best at everything compared to their unwanted son. And since I moved out, they've barely interacted with family. They threw themselves into work. In part because the rest of the family forced them to contribute to my college like they did my brothers. But also because to them, working was the only thing that gave them a reason to tell everyone to leave them alone. My grandma suspects they've even slept in their cars a few times to avoid coming home. I only saw my parents at Christmas at my uncle's house for the past couple years. And they barely even spoke to me. Now that I was living my best life away from them, I guess you could say that they'd stopped bothering to act like I was their son. They don't want me anymore after the family humiliation they feel like they'd suffered, even though they know they brought it on themselves. And they've become workaholics that do little else. My grandmother told me my bedroom is basically exactly how I left it on the day I moved out. My parents have not even gone inside, but they kept my brother's room clean and ready for the day he'd finally come back home after college. Well, that didn't happen. They flew out to see him for his graduation and had a big celebration with him. I was not invited to go as well. Not that I could afford it, but my grandparents went along, and they gave me the details. My parents were still convinced my brother would be coming back home. And that's when he awkwardly told them he had already secured a job through an internship he'd done the past year. And he'd found an apartment of his own too. My father became furious and my mother lost her mind crying and begging him to come home. But he refused. You see, this past 2 years my brother and I have reconnected a bit. He found my Reddit account and called me. He wasn't angry, just wanted to talk. He admitted to me that our parents put him through a lot as well. Our mother absolutely smothered him, especially when I wasn't around. And our father was also quite strict with his expectations. So the fact that I did better than my brother when our parents had invested everything into him just broke them. And now they're extra broken because my brother refused to come home with them. The way our parents treated my brother is also the reason we stopped connecting as siblings until this past couple of years. He did bully me at times when we were growing up. But that's because being the favorite went to his head. But it was favoritism with strings attached. And when he realized that, he got counseling after moving out. My brother also has a girlfriend he met while in college. And he kept her a secret because he knew our parents wouldn't approve. And they didn't when they found out. Bro blew up at them when my mother referred to his girlfriend that she hadn't even met as a slut. Bro's girlfriend is in nursing school and a year from graduation herself. And my brother says she's the best. I've never met her, but she sounds wonderful by how he's described her. My grandma told me my mother went so far as to hire a private investigator to find out who my brother's girlfriend was, and was irritated to know that she was squeaky clean and from a good family on the same side politically too. But in her mind, she was the reason my brother wasn't coming back. Even though bro made it clear he'd decided that before even meeting his girlfriend. My father had basically become stoically silent about it from what I heard. But my mother let it slip to my brother that she'd hired a detective and my brother gave our parents a piece of his mind. And this led to a whole argument about how they gave him everything and he was ungrateful for not coming back. But he called them out that being the favored child is abuse too, because they nearly made him like them. It broke my parents to hear that. My brother told our grandparents and they staged another family intervention. One I was even involved in through video call. My parents tried to not even pay attention to me. But even bro told them to talk to me. We all told them enough was enough. They have 2 sons and they needed to start treating us fairly. Because they let something as idiotic as not being born the gender they wanted to ruin their love for me from day one. And pardon my language on this next part, my father hit his breaking point and yelled, "You want us to admit we've get up?" Well yeah, we did. What do you want us to fing do? Time fing travel. We're paying for part of Opie's fing college too. What more does he fing want from us? Things ended very poorly in that intervention. My mother cried that she was sorry to me. But even then I still didn't feel her heart was in it because she didn't spend much time apologizing to me at all before moving on to my brother through the phone he was video calling from. and she spent a long time crying and apologizing to him, until he told her to go back and actually apologize to me like she meant it. That's when my father grabbed the phone and shut it off. Then he just sat down and told everyone to leave. The last thing my grandparents said to my parents was that they were so disappointed in them, and maybe losing both sons showed them they should never have favored one. Right now my parents are not on speaking terms with the rest of the family. My grandma heard a rumor they may be planning to move, but they have a paid-off country house and great careers. I feel like they'd be fools to move. But since my brother isn't going back and I'm likely not either, I suppose it's not really an issue. I kinda doubt they'd welcome me in if I came to visit after the crap that went down. I am still thankful to them for helping to pay for my college. My student loans were significantly reduced thanks to them. But as parents, I think we can all agree they just didn't do a good job. TLDR, parents heavily favored my brother to the point of bankrolling his life and getting him a car. Attempted to cast me aside. Family intervened and forced them to be fair and get me a car too, as well as cover some of my college. My parents only got worse after I left home, and I learned even more crazy crap about how they tried to raise me as a girl from infancy. Then my brother graduated college and told our parents he was not coming back. Our parents lost it. Mother hired an investigator, made things worse, big family intervention that failed, and now my parents are treating the entire family as being dead to them. Okay, wow. I don't even know where to start with this one. That's rough, buddy. The audacity of those parents, man. Trying to raise him as a girl for 6 months? Seriously messed up. And the favoritism? Obvious and just plain mean. Good on the grandparents and the brother for stepping up. Sounds like they actually care. Glad OP got the Honda and that it's still running. A little bit of good news, I guess. But man, what a messed up family dynamic. Moving away to avoid the consequences? That's the best they can do? Hope OP and his brother can actually build a real relationship now, away from all that toxicity. And seriously, therapy for everyone involved. Now, let's see what the Reddit community thinks about this. Oh, LOL, they're planning to move closer to your brother. As your brother tries to begin his own adult life, you may find that in the adult years, you would prefer being the ignored scapegoat because your brother will never shake them chasing after him. I was worried that may be the case. My brother is reading the comments of this post too, and he thinks the same thing. But he tells me he won't let them play happy family without me. You or your brother need to arrange a trip to hang out. Not necessarily travel, just meet up at your place or his and chill out and connect as brothers. It's possible you may never be incredibly close, but it'd be good to have a decent relationship with him. And somewhere in the distance, we can hear Opie's mother still whispering, I did nothing wrong, I did nothing wrong. Them damn kids don't get motherly love. For your father's question of what do you want us to ing do? Time travel? This should be the answer. All they need to do is genuinely apologize and take the time and effort to get to know you, their second son. They should willingly show love and care to you as their own child. They can't change the past, but they can most definitely change the present and future. But unfortunately, it feels impossible as they are not willing nor unable to change their mindset. They should have just given your grandparents the guardianship and saved you from a childhood full of trauma. That's it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Reddit tales and discussions.